Okay, I think I have this recording. So, to use Meterpreter, right? MSF console. Of course, it takes a while. It's gonna yell at me. Not that big of a deal. Biggest things. So, from that example I gave you, let's say we saw a service, and we're looking at it. But you can also run Nmap from here too. Oh. Why is that mad at me? Oh. Loopback address isn't working. But, anyways, let's say we have, like I said in there, ICRD, right? So, you're typically looking for IRCD, right? IRCD is part of Merck, but you'll get like a list of these, and so if we do search SMB, right, you get all these different things, right? SMB is used across both Mac, Linux, Windows, so on and so forth. So you'll see a lot of these different ones in here. They'll either say exploit, auxiliary, post exploit, auxiliary again, payload, what's being sent, the disclosure date, essentially when it was put out there publicly, and then there's these ranks, right? So you'll see excellent, normal, good, low, average, manual. Never really dealt with any of those. Try to stay away from them. But because my example is a little bit more specific, it doesn't really help you get into this. So I'm just going to use SMB here. However, so we want to narrow it down, right? We can do SMB Windows, for example. And this is going to narrow it down by you have your Windows and whether or not it's an SMB thing, right? There's different things. You'll still get a bunch of different things. However, it's just the searching portion of it. Now, when you're trying to do this, we know, okay, typically anything that is normal is not the world's best, chance of it actually being exploitable. Typically, what I've seen from all of his stuff is you're going to have excellent or great. So any of these that come back green here, or say excellent or great, those work. Now, you'll see some of them have checks, which is where they will actually run an auxiliary beforehand and essentially allow you to check to see if it's working beforehand, right? So if we come back to that, and let's pick one here. Trying to find one specifically that's just off the top of my head. Okay, yeah. Eternal Blue is one of those big ones, right? However, so what I'm going to do is to use that exploit, I'm going to say use 0, or I can do use exploit /windows SMB / MS17 010 Eternal Blue. You'll see that sometimes it will say here, no payload configured. We're going to use Meterpreter reverse TCP shell, right? All fine and dandy. If you want to change it, I'm going to show you that here in a second. To see the actual options that it lists, you will just type options. So now we see here, oops, that is not what I was trying to do. Our hosts, those are going to be your target hosts, right? Our port is the target port that you're attacking. If it uses domain authentication, you'll add that here. Maybe a password and username could be here. Is it required? No, it will tell you if it's required here. And then you'll see our payload options here. But let's say we don't want to use that. However, while I'm here, let's set our target, right? So our target, we need to set our hosts, and make sure you type that correctly, because if I just type our host and I do 127.0.0.1, it's going to say, oh, I set that. And then if I come here, options, oh, it used to not do that. It used to get mad at that. But either way, just make sure you're typing things right. Sometimes that will negate that. But however, payload options, right? Search, reverse, TCP. Right, we're looking for a payload for reverse TCP. And we can see we have a bunch of these here. However, it could be a number of things, right? So search reverse TCP Windows. Narrows it down a tad bit more. Not much, but just a tad bit more. I don't want an HTTP shell. All right, Windows PowerShell reverse TCP. Use 238. Okay. Use 238. I come here. Now we're configuring the payload itself, right? Listening host. So let's say we have an event listener set up on our side. That would be the host of the computer that you're using to attack, right? So let's say that's set up nicely, as goofy as that is. So set lhost. Actually, we can do 0.0.0.0, and it will be fine. I can type back options. Oop. payload, my bad. Set payload now to payload Windows x64 shell verse TCP RC4. So that was an oops on my part. I forgot it's not use, it's set. So used essentially switched it over here. So if you see, I said use 238, and now it switched payload. My bad. But now if we list options, I should see options for both our exploit module and our payload options. Now, and then let me just double check and make sure. I see it pulled my IP address. Now you can just do run if every single one of these requirements is met, right? And it's going to essentially get mad at me because I'm running this on a Mac. But yeah, that's kind of the basics of how to navigate this. That cheat sheet I sent should help. Should. But it's really just knowing, search, use, options, how to set those options, and then basically how to execute it, which is run. And you'll sit there and you'll play with things of that nature.